Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning.
New details about the murder of high school counselor Maggie Daniels. What the documents show the suspect said to police when they questioned him about Daniels' murder, and the new information we expect to learn within the next 2 hours.
A woman behind bars accused of trying to kill her grandfather. The unexpected twist to the case that we uncovered in the court documents. Good Friday morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascrella.
TGIF, I'm Peter Doubt. Weather and traffic every 10 minutes. Let's kick things off with Keith. Good morning.
And we are starting out with a little more steam out there for today. That's
still not seeing any major backups at this time. Peter?
All right, Mark, thanks. Today we expect to learn more details about the investigation surrounding the murder of a Newton High School counselor.
In the search warrants just released yesterday morning, they accused the suspect of stalking Maggie Daniels before her death. Eyewitness News anchor Eric Phillips is in Newton with more on the warrants and the information we can expect to get today. Eric.
Natalie, we are expecting as many as 3 more warrants to be unsealed today. Yesterday, these warrants that were unsealed gave us a look into the mindset of accused killer Sharman Odom. They revealed that Odom was actually stalking, according to police, the 31-year-old Discovery High School counselor Maggie Daniels, appearing to know her habits. One neighbor told police Odom had pictures of Daniels on his iPhone from her social media accounts. The mother of Daniels' boyfriend told investigators on several occasions she caught Odom staring at Daniels as she sunbathed in her front yard, and that made both of them uneasy. One neighbor described Odom as creepy. Police say on the day Daniels was murdered, Odom walked into her apartment through an unlocked door, raped, then strangled her. Now prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Coming up in 30 minutes, what these warrants reveal about the scene at Daniels' apartment the day her body was found. We're live in Newton this morning. Eric Phillips, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Eric, thanks. Overnight, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police dealt with 2 separate shootings. One of them happened just after midnight on Hudson Graham Lane in northwest Charlotte. Medics said the crews took 1 person to the hospital, but they are expected to survive. Officers told our crew the victim was alert and talking when they got to the scene. Police used a helicopter to search the area for a suspect, but didn't make any arrests. The second shooting happened at a house in northeast Charlotte just before 2 this morning. Police say a woman shot a man with a flare gun during a domestic dispute. Medic took the man to the hospital, but he is also expected to be all right. Investigators also called in the fire department because the flare burned the wall. Police haven't said if they'll file charges.
Channel 9 uncovered documents revealing much more about the relationship between a disabled war veteran and his granddaughter, who police say tried to kill him. Kaylin Whiteside is one of 3 suspects police say robbed and shot her grandfather, Wayne Whiteside, inside his Rock Hill home last weekend. But documents show Wayne was accused of attacking Kaylin when she was just 12 years old. In 2005, he pleaded guilty to assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature and was sentenced to 5 years probation. Kaylin Whiteside and 2 other men are all charged with attempted murder. Police say the group broke into Wayne Whiteside's home Saturday night, robbed and shot him. Wolfgang Leewold appeared in court yesterday, facing burglary and attempted murder charges.
Coming up on 7:05 right now, today the jury will hear more testimony against a former high school basketball coach. A second woman testified against former Hickory High School coach Sean Johnson yesterday. The woman, who's now in her 20s, says the sexual advancement started when she was 14.
I was standing behind the door as I walked in. The lights were dim, and I walked in, and there was a couch right there on your right-hand side. I walked in, and Sean was actually naked.
The woman claims she had sex with Johnson on 4 different occasions in his office. She says she stopped when she learned he was married. Eyewitness News reporter Dave Faraday will tweet updates from inside the courtroom. You can follow him on Twitter at WSOC9, at Faraday WSOC9, or follow #JohnsonTrial. A judge awarded a Charlotte family $500,000 after a jury found a CMPD officer used excessive force in a man's death. Officer Michael Forbes shot Lorico Williams with a taser twice during a call back in 2011. Williams later died. His aunt says the case was not about money, but justice.
What helps us move forward is that we can honestly say that justice was served on our loved one's behalf.
The jury ruled the second shot was not a reasonable action and that excessive force killed Williams. Charlotte leaders released a statement saying they believe Officer Forbes acted reasonably in a very difficult situation, but that they respect the jury's decision. We have some new information on the funeral of a West Rowan High School coach killed when he crashed into a tree. Family and friends are set to hold a memorial service and visitation for Daryl Meisenheimer Sunday afternoon at Life Church in Salisbury. Troopers say Meisenheimer reported he didn't feel well after he finished his morning bus route. and was headed home when he wrecked into a tree on Sherrills Ford Road Tuesday.
President Obama is sending U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry to the Middle East next week to try to create a coalition of world leaders against ISIS. The president says weeks of airstrikes in Iraq are pushing the militant group back, and now he's asking for U.S. military leaders to prepare multiple options to go after the group in Syria. But he says he will consult with Congress before taking any action.
As our strategy develops, we will continue to consult with Congress, and I do think that it'll be important for Congress to weigh in.
Right now, the militants are holding 3 Americans hostage. One is freelance reporter Stephen Sotliff, who was last seen alive at the end of a video that showed the beheading of journalist Jane Foley. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we'll have more on John Kerry's mission and the continuing battle against ISIS. And next week, President Obama will head to Europe to meet with NATO leaders about the crisis in Ukraine. Ukraine's president says Russia has now launched a full-scale invasion into his country. President Obama said yesterday it's clear Russia has trained, armed, and funded pro-Russian separatists at the center of the violence. But he says a military confrontation between the U.S. and Russia is, quote, not in the cards.
The Moral Monday movement is headed to Charlotte to honor those in the labor force on Labor Day. The president of the NAACP chapter in Charlotte talked about some vital plans for the rally Monday. The Moral Monday movement started last year when protesters spoke out against the policies put in place by the Republican-led legislature.
We want to raise our voices in unity and solidarity and faith and love to show that we appreciate, respect, and honor the right for people to work.
The group expects 300 to 500 people will be in Uptown on Monday. The rally is at Marshall Park in Uptown starting at 5:30 at night. The state's environmental agency now admits a lack of oversight when it comes to Duke Energy's coal ash plants. In a letter to the Southern Environmental Law Center, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources says before Secretary John Sparla took over in 2013, the DENR allowed Duke to operate coal ash plants that potentially threaten North Carolina's environment. The department sent the letter after the Law Center said it planned to sue for alleged Clean Water Act violations. The agency says it's going to take some time as it addresses the long-ignored program that took 60 years to create and says it'll hold Duke Energy responsible and accountable by law. You might remember lawmakers did pass a similar bill earlier this month aimed at cleaning up the toxic coal ash dumps in North Carolina, but Governor Pat McCrory still hasn't signed that. Eyewitness News has followed all the concerns over coal ash for months. We have extensive coverage on WSOCTV.com. 7:09 right now. We have weather and traffic every 10 minutes. A nice start to the Labor Day weekend. Hey, Keith.
All right, Mark, thank you. The North Carolina DOT says its crews will stop most construction projects on state and U.S. roads for the Labor Day weekend. Officials say construction crews will stop working at 4 this afternoon and won't start working again until Tuesday morning. But if you're driving near Raleigh for the holiday weekend, you'll still have to deal with construction on I-440. And if you head through South Carolina for the Labor Day weekend, you may want to check out the state's DOT app. You can check out the state DOT cameras for a live look at traffic. The app also gives you travel time estimates. It's called the 511 Traveler Information System, and it's free. Your time is 7:11, a program to help veterans get through the backlog at the VA. The way the American Legion was able to get more veterans hundreds of thousands of dollars in just one day. And health officials set to test a new vaccine for Ebola. The process researchers have to go through before they can send it to affected areas.
Plus, the NFL taking a tougher stance against domestic violence. The changes league leaders made and the impact this could have on Panther star Greg Hardy. 7:14 right now on your Friday morning. Thanks for watching Eyewitness News this morning on TV 64. What you're seeing here, a shot of an accident. Reports of one person injured here on Beatties Ford Road, and you're just seeing CMPD driving into our shot there, arriving on scene. Traffic Team 9's Mark Taylor have much more, but again, this Beatties Ford Road here in North Charlotte, an accident shutting down parts of that traffic, slowing down there. It looks like you're seeing the car wrecked and several officers there off to the side. We will keep you posted. Again, you'll hear from Mark in just minutes. Panthers defensive end Greg Hardy could face a 6-game suspension under the NFL's new domestic violence policy. Hardy's appealing his conviction for assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Hardy told ESPN he hasn't heard from the league yet. An NFL spokesperson would only say each case will be addressed individually. A domestic violence awareness advocate from Charlotte, Tony Porter, helped the league develop these new rules. A player will face an unpaid 6-game ban for the first offense and a lifetime ban for the second.
For them to take such a hard, fast, and in today's society, bold reaction to domestic violence, it can have major, major impact and influence on all of us.
This comes after criticism when Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice was only suspended for 2 games for domestic violence accusations. The NFL commissioner admitted he mishandled the case and promised to take a firmer stance against domestic violence.
Residents in a North Charlotte neighborhood say their community has experienced a major turnaround since a popular website named the North Tryon Corridor one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America 4 years ago. The president of the Lockwood Homeowners Association says the neighborhood has come a long way in the 11 years he's lived there. In 2010, the website neighborhoodscout.com ranked this part of Charlotte as the 11th in a list of the 25 most dangerous neighborhoods in the nation. Now the neighborhood is not on that list.
And we have a lot of development on Tryon Street and development on Graham Street. All these are things that are starting to pull the community together.
In 2013, the area saw a roughly 7% drop in total crime and a 28% drop in burglaries. CMPD credits bike patrols and neighborhood assigned officers as well as the strong community support. Police believe one man is connected to 2 robbery cases across Charlotte. Officers arrested Patrick Simpson in Chester County. Investigators say he held a 61-year-old woman at gunpoint last month outside of a YMCA on Beatties Ford Road in North Charlotte. She was not hurt, but they say he took off with her iPhone. Police also connected him to a robbery of a pizza delivery man in Northwest Charlotte last month. The Papa John's driver pulled up to a vacant home on Northwood Drive. Investigators believe Simpson was one of the people who approached the driver and shot a gun. The delivery driver was not hurt.
Human trials of an experimental Ebola vaccine will begin next week. The Food and Drug Administration gave researchers the green light after an expedited review of the vaccine. It'll be the first given to 3 healthy volunteers to see if they have any adverse effects. Then it'll be given to a small group of people, ages 18 to 50, to see if that produces a strong immune response to the virus. The vaccine did well in trials with chimpanzees, according to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
The worst thing in the world that you want is a vaccine that you never know if it works or not, and you're giving it to people who think it works and it doesn't.
The vaccine cannot cause a healthy individual to become infected with the virus. The experimental drug, though not the same as the one that was given to 2 Charlotte missionaries there. The ties there from Charlotte who overcame the virus. Health officials gave that drug, known as ZMapp, to Nancy Reipel and Dr. Kent Brantley while they were in West Africa. Brantley was given the treatment 9 days after he became sick. Doctors say within an hour his condition had improved greatly. Emory University Hospital in Atlanta released both Brantley and Reipel, you'll recall, just last week. We followed the Ebola outbreak for weeks. You can find all of our past coverage at WSOCTV.com.
The man in charge of a paving company Channel 9 has investigated for years is now a convicted criminal and faces up to 25 years in prison. Drew Boggs pleaded guilty yesterday to 2 counts of conspiracy and money laundering. In exchange, prosecutors dropped 27 other counts. Investigators said Boggs, 3 of his top executives, and the founder of a trucking business planned to fraudulently get more than $87 million worth of federal and state contracts. Channel 9 discovered Boggs Paving will be allowed to move forward with the $850 million Monroe Bypass project. The state DOT says they have not awarded any new contracts to Boggs. State officials say they will review the plea agreement and determine what actions are in the best interest of the public. 7:19 now, weather and traffic every 10 minutes. All right, Mark, thanks. A local middle school evacuated because of a carbon monoxide leak, the issue that prevented administrators from contacting parents. And a DOT employee accused of sending inappropriate messages to an 11-year-old girl is still on the job, the connection he had with the victim.
Plus, Tony Stewart set to return to the track for the first time since he hit and killed another driver. When we could hear from him for the first time since that crash. Thank you.
You're watching Eyewitness News this morning on TV 64. You're taking a live look at Beatties Ford Road in North Charlotte, where there has been an accident. 1 person has been taken to the hospital. We are monitoring their condition right now. We also have a crew on the way to the scene to gather more details, including what led up to this wreck. Right now, Traffic Team 9's Mark Taylor is monitoring the situation and also his alternate routes. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Peter. Yeah, this is happening on Beatties Ford near Russell Avenue in front of Northwest School of the Arts. It's actually not far from the accident that happened Monday when a student was hit in the area. And right now, the police investigation is underway, and Beatties Ford is blocked in both directions. You could use Brookshire from I-85 over towards Beatties Ford. Statesville or even North Grams could all be used to get around the closure. Peter?
Cast here this morning, heat up again with temperatures around 70 as we start out the day today. We have a few 60s still to the south and west, and of course in the mountains. But the heat and the steam building up again this afternoon. We return to the low 90s today. Staying hot, staying sunny. Only a very small chance for a downpour in the mountains. That'll be the same case tomorrow, but we all get a better shot by Sunday. Scattered stuff, not widespread, but that will continue through Labor Day.
Good Morning America continues now on Channel 9 and on TV 64. New details in the murder of a local high school counselor. What investigators say they found in Maggie Daniels' apartment.
Now, Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning continues on TV 64.
New documents reveal prosecutors will seek the death penalty for the man suspected of killing Newton High School counselor Maggie Daniels. The information we found in newly released search warrants and the new details we expect to learn this morning.
Plus, a couple accused of taking $28,000 worth of goods during dozens of break-ins in our area. The strange places investigators finally caught up to each suspect. Good morning, I'm Peter Downs.
And I'm Natalie Pasquella. Thanks so much for joining us on your Friday morning. We have weather and traffic every 10 minutes on Eyewitness News this morning. Meteorologist Keith Monday is in severe weather. Mark, thanks for that new information. In just about an hour, a judge expected to release more search warrants about the investigation into the murder of Newton High School counselor Maggie Daniels.
Now, this comes a day after we learned more about the suspect from documents released yesterday. Eyewitness News anchor Eric Phillips is in Newton with more on those search warrants. Eric?
Peter, that's right. These warrants that were unsealed less than 24 hours ago revealed that Odom often talked to his neighbors about Maggie Daniels, oftentimes wondering aloud if she had a boyfriend and if she would date a black man. And even after he found out she did have a boyfriend, he reportedly said it didn't matter. The warrants say investigators found Daniels' body in her bedroom, clothed only in shorts. Furniture was askew, indicating a struggle, and there were marks around her neck where she had been strangled. DNA analyzed from her body indicated the presence of an unknown male's DNA. Investigators also found several dark curly hairs around Daniels' apartment and in between her fingers. Sandra Sanchez's daughter is a student at Discovery High School, where Daniels was a counselor.
It's a shame that a young lady, a dedicated school teacher, that had to suffer like that.
Coming up in 30 minutes, what Odom told investigators when they questioned him before his arrest. We're live in Newton this morning. Eric Phillips, Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning.
All right, Eric, thank you. Right now, this husband and wife are in custody. Police believe the couple is behind nearly 50 break-ins over the last month all across Union County. These are just some of the locations deputies say James Clark and Jimmy Crowell targeted. Investigators say the couple broke into homes, cars, and businesses. The sheriff estimates the property damage and value of the stolen goods to be more than $28,000. Detectives have recovered some of the goods from pawn shops, including an antique double-barrel shotgun.
They were stealing anything that they could get out with quickly.
Deputies say they found Clark hiding in a wooded lot in Monroe Monday, and Crowell was found in the closet of a home on Wednesday. Both will be in court next month. President Obama says U.S. airstrikes against ISIS in Iraq are working.
But he does not have a strategy yet to combat the group as it gains ground in neighboring Syria. Ed Payne reports.
President Obama told reporters.
New for daybreak, overnight Malaysia Airlines announced it will cut 6,000 employees as part of its recovery plan following two major disasters. In March, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished during a trip from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Search crews are still trying to locate the wreckage. Just last month, Flight 17 was shot out of the sky over Ukraine, and investigators are still working to retrieve evidence from the crash site.
Time now 7:36. NASCAR driver Tony Stewart will speak publicly today for the very first time since he hit and killed another driver during a race. Stewart will compete in the Sprint Cup Series this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He sat out the last three races after hitting Kevin Ward Jr. during a dirt track race earlier this month. Here's video from right before that accident. You saw Ward get out of his car before Stewart hit and killed him. Officials are still investigating the incident. They haven't found any evidence, though, to support criminal intent by Stewart. Channel 9 has covered every development since that accident. We have all of our past stories at WSOCTV.com.
The Charlotte Knights will play their last home game of the holiday season this weekend. City leaders say the team's success in their first season in Uptown is already transforming the area around it. The Knights smashed attendance records this year. The team is sitting at 667,000, with two eclipsing the old record of 430,000. City leaders say the combination of Romare Bearden Park and the Knights Stadium has created a baseball village.
We've got over 1,000 units of housing,
We have over $300 million of development that's occurring that we believe is related to that park.
Knight Stadium will host the Minor League Championship game September 15th. The team says it plans to rent the stadium for private functions in the off-season. Right now, hundreds of veterans across the country are still trying to understand the confusion surrounding their benefit claims. The American Legion set up a crisis command center at its convention here in Charlotte this week. The program helps veterans file claims and get help faster.
I got in the car and, I drove up here, man, and it was really worth it. It's really worth it because I feel so much better the way they're handling the claims now.
More than $130,000 in claims were given out to area veterans on Wednesday alone, and we found data revealing there are still more than 554 pending claims at the VA.
The FBI and Secret Service are now working to figure out just how big cyber attacks were against U.S. banks. Russian hackers attacked the U.S. financial system earlier this month. Experts say the attack is possibly in retaliation against U.S. sanctions on Russia. Officials say the hackers got account information and other data from J.P. Chase and 4 other unnamed banks. As the first week of school comes to an end, Charlotte-Mecklenburg district leaders still have more than 100 openings for teachers and for teachers' assistants. We found a variety of teaching positions listed on the district's online job board. CMS leaders say the vacant positions represent a small fraction of the total teaching staff. Now, we did post a link to the district's job board. You'll find that inside the story at WSOCTV.com.
This weekend, Charlotte residents will throw a birthday celebration for the late Romare Bearden. The Mecklenburg County Parks and Recreation Department is holding the event to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the grand opening of Romare Bearden Park. The celebration will include live jazz music, an art walk featuring Charlotte artists and local food vendors. Festivities kick off at noon today and go through Sunday afternoon at 5. Meteorologist Keith Monday is tracking our forecast for the day. Might be a great day to go out to the park, Keith.
As we prepare for the heat and the steam, there'll be plenty of sunshine and dry weather.
Dale Earnhardt Boulevard back towards Cannon as the alternate. Peter?
All right, Mark, thanks. The Labor Day weekend starts today. Nearly 1.5 million people in the Carolinas will be traveling. AAA reports that's the highest number since the recession. They say 90% of travelers will be driving more than 50 miles from home. Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Raleigh, Charlotte, and Asheville are the most popular destinations this weekend. AAA says gas prices this weekend will also be the cheapest in 4 years. We just checked, and right now Charlotte drivers are paying $3.32 a gallon. That's a couple cents cheaper than the state average. And at $3.17 a gallon, South Carolina has the nation's lowest prices. Channel 9 has made it easy for you to find the cheapest gas prices in your area. Just log on to WSOCTV.com and look for gas prices under the traffic tab. Your time is 7:41. The head of a paving company pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges. The major project in our area he is still being allowed to work on.
Plus, new details in a robbery and shooting of a Rock Hill veteran, the crime he committed against one of the suspects. Plus, a local hospital could lose its availability for Medicare and Medicaid. The complaint we uncovered that prompted an investigation into the hospital. Right now, we are staying on top of this story. You're seeing a live look here at Beatties Ford Road. Reports of a person hit by a car. We have confirmed one person injured, transported to the hospital. As we zoom in here, you're seeing that brown Altima there on the scene. If you look down at the ground, you see the skid marks as well. And we're also told on the other side there, the windshield appears to be shattered as well. Now, this is actually near Northwest School of the Arts. So we're working to find out how old that person was. We're asking if it was a student who was hit by the car. Also interesting about this story, we do know one person was transported here, but you might remember this is the exact same area, very much in that area there where a high school student was hit back on Monday. You may remember this video. Carolina's Medical Center said that Jennifer Tejada is in good condition this morning, though. That 16-year-old was leaving West Charlotte High School when she was hit on Beatties Ford Road, though, at Hildebrand. Police say she ran across the road in front of several cars before she was hit. Traffic Team 9's Mark Taylor will have much more in a few minutes.
Your time is 7:45. Documents we obtained confirm a hospital in Hamlet was placed on immediate jeopardy status because of an alleged sexual assault there. We first told you last month that a janitor at Sandhills Regional Medical Center, Thaddeus Primus, was accused of sexually assaulting a mental patient. Documents show he repeatedly asked her to expose herself to him and then took her into the bathroom and forcibly had sex with her. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services investigated, and it placed the hospital on immediate jeopardy when, quote, staff failed to ensure a safe environment by failing to monitor and supervise behavioral health patients. The documents also reveal Primus was investigated back in October 2012. They show a patient's family complained he had sexually propositioned her and made inappropriate comments to her and another psychiatric patient. The documents do not show if any action was taken against Primus. Now this means if the hospital does not make immediate changes, on September 6th, the government will stop paying for services for Medicaid and Medicare patients. Hospital officials told Channel 9 they've already made major changes, including the retirement of their CEO. They also said they're strengthening patient safety policies and procedures and that workers have gone through more training. Officials with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services will return to the hospital for an unannounced visit before September 6th to see if changes are made. We have put the full report on WSOCTV.com. Look for it inside the story on our homepage.
7:46 right now on your Friday morning. Channel 9 learned an NCDOT employee charged with sending inappropriate text messages to an 11-year-old will keep his job. Investigators say Eric Collins sent obscene text messages and lewd pictures of himself to a girl in Lincoln County. Police say he knows her family and befriended her on Facebook. Investigators say her parents discovered the messages and contacted police. Collins is in jail facing 2 child sex offense charges. Class is expected to start on time at a school that had to evacuate yesterday because of high levels of carbon monoxide inside. It happened here at Coolwood Middle School in Northwest Charlotte yesterday afternoon. Principal said a broken fan in the cafeteria was to blame. 2 of the workers were tested for carbon monoxide poisoning, but they were fine.
Yeah, as long as my daughter's straight, I'm good. She say they handled it all professionally. It wasn't erratic or nothing. They got all the kids out safely, so I'm not disappointed at all.
Principal said they could not get into the office for several hours, and that's why they weren't able to send a message to parents until 2 p.m. Over the next few weeks, there will be more parking spaces in Charlotte's South End. Drivers will be allowed to park on South Tryon between Bland Street and Park Avenue after 6:30 on weeknights until 6 o'clock in the morning and all day on weekends. It'll make 54 spaces available on the street. City officials will take the next 4 months to study whether the on-street parking should be permanent. The study should start in about 3 weeks.
Today, Bilo is looking to hire people for its stores across the Charlotte area. The grocery store is hosting 2 job fairs in our area. The first is at the store on East Liberty Street in York. It starts at 10 this morning and goes until 4 p.m. The second is from noon until 4 at the store on West Highway 27 in Lincolnton. The store is recruiting for part-time clerk positions in multiple departments and will have on-site interviews. Independent studies show Charlotte's airport suffering from lax oversight in key areas. As we first reported on Eyewitness News Daybreak yesterday, the reviews of operations found the airport had not been charging the city enough rent for its police helicopter hangar or its animal control facility. As a result, the city will repay the airport $1.6 million in rent that should have been paid over the last 6 years. Now let's get a look at the forecast with Keith. Good morning.
It's warm. It's a bit muggy out there this morning, Peter. You'll notice a lot more haze in that sky. Still a beautiful morning, though. We're at 71 here at Charlotte. It's much cooler. Southwest, typical spots that you don't usually see a little bit of a cool morning. At 64 in Chesterfield and into Chester. A little more of the muggy weather has been kind of streaming in from the north the last couple of days, and we're going to see the humidity build up a lot more into the weekend, bringing back a much better chance for thunderstorms as the weekend rolls on. We're 5 to 10 degrees warmer east of the mountains this morning, slightly cooler in the high country to start the day today. But as the afternoon rolls in, the heat is building up. We're already into the low to mid 80s around lunchtime and a high today around 90 degrees in Charlotte. A few middle 90s south, upper 80s still expected up into Salisbury today. I even expect these numbers in Hickory and Statesville to probably climb a few degrees higher than what the Futurecast is showing for this afternoon. Then heading into your Friday evening plans, football tonight, maybe heading over toward Romare Bearden Park for their activities starting this afternoon and this evening. Will still be around 80 by 9 o'clock, so it's not going to cool down a whole lot tonight. Rain chances basically slim to none for about everybody. Mountains may see a small chance for a downpour very late this afternoon, but that chance even less than yesterday as hot high pressure builds in from the southwest, keeping it a very hazy forecast. Now this is going to block most of the storm chances for about everybody today and again tomorrow. But by Sunday, that area of high pressure will slowly shift eastward, kind of opening the door for more stormy weather to come back in. Unfortunately, it's not going to cool us down a whole lot. We'll only see a few passing downpours here or there. Saturday looks really quiet still as that high pressure suppresses the storm chances, maybe a few off to the east in Raleigh. But Sunday, more clouds come in, and Sunday afternoon from Charlotte west, There come the downpours. So the heat's building up this weekend. We will see 90-degree weather today, tomorrow, close to 90 Sunday. Out there at Uptown, hot and hazy. We'll see a better chance for downpours coming back in by Sunday afternoon. So the 5-day forecast looking through the weekend, the temperatures stay hot. The numbers climb up to near 90 and basically stay there all the way through early next week. So Labor Day, not a washout at all, but there'll be a scattered downpour chance in the heat of the afternoon. Those 90s could go well into next week.
All right, it's warming up for us here.
That's
The chance of rain has to go up when it warms up like this in August, so we're ready for it.
Thanks,
Keith. Thanks.
Your time is 7:51. Weather and traffic every 10 minutes. Mark, how's the drive?
I'm still monitoring the situation in North Charlotte right now, where Beatties Ford remains closed. An accident involving a pedestrian is under investigation as we speak right now. This is happening in front of Northwest School of the Arts near Russell Avenue, south of LaSalle. It remains closed. If you plan a trip to the area, avoid by using Statesville, Graham. You can even use Brookshire over to Beatties Ford to head towards Uptown Charlotte. Had that earlier accident on Old Statesville at P. Brown. It's cleared. All travel lanes are now open. So good news. Do have an accident up in Kannapolis causing problems. It's on Cannon Avenue near South Harding Avenue. To get around it, use Dale Earnhardt Boulevard back towards 29 as the alternate route. Natalie?
All right, Mark, thanks so much for the new information there. Well, the Panthers scored a big win against the Pittsburgh Steelers in their final preseason matchup in the opening drive. Derek Anderson hits Calvin Benjamin for a 19-yard pickup that would lead to a field goal. The defense did a good job of keeping the Steelers out of the end zone, and in the second half, it's Joe Webb to Fozzie Whitaker for a 2-yard touchdown. Panthers win 10-0. The Panthers kick off the regular season, though, on the road. That's what everybody's waiting for, taking on Tampa Bay a week from Sunday.
96,000 viewers tuned in last Friday to watch the premiere of High School Football Extra, and it's only getting bigger and better in week 2. Our game of the week, a bitter rivalry between Huff and Mooresville. The Blue Devils will be out for revenge after dropping 2 in a row to the Huskies. These two teams just don't like each other. The action all starts tonight. Right after Eyewitness News at 11, we've got you covered 16 games on tap, plus all your local scores.
A North Charlotte neighbor once considered the 11 most dangerous in the county made a major turnaround. This neighborhood will type at the action. Police credit for the big turnaround, plus disturbing new details released in the murder case for local high school counselor. The information we expect to learn today about what the suspect told investigators about the victim.
And a live look for you now from our HD Charlotte cam. A gorgeous shot there of the sky as the sun continues to rise. 76 degrees right now, and meteorologist Keith Monday will track your Labor Day weekend forecast coming up in just a few moments.
Follow us on Twitter to keep up with breaking news, weather, and all the top stories of the day. Join the conversation and tweet us at WSOC TV.
About an hour, a judge is going to release more search warrants related to a high school counselor's murder. Yesterday, we learned the man accused of killing Maggie Daniels also had pictures of her and told people that he wanted to be with her. The warrants released yesterday say Sharman Odom watched Daniels so intensely that he appeared to know her habits. Police say Odom went into Daniels' apartment through an unlocked door and raped and strangled her. Now prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in the case. At 7:56, I want to show you this accident scene here. We are live on Beatties Ford Road out of North Charlotte. We have a reporter on the way to the scene. There's a lot of traffic backups in that area. We know one person has been transported to the hospital. We're still trying to work out find out how old that person is, if it is a student, because Northwest School of the Arts is nearby. And this is also the scene of a previous accident we saw just a few days ago in that same area there, Beatties Ford Road. We will keep you posted. Traffic Team 9 monitoring that commute and that situation. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, we're dealing with some backups here, Natalie.
We'll keep it in the 90s into next week.
All right, Keith, thanks. Good Morning America continues now if you're watching us on Channel 9 and on TV 64. Those new details we uncovered about a relationship between a disabled war veteran and his granddaughter who police say tried to kill him.